welcome to the May 2nd edition, volume, I don't know what you want to call it, of the, what did I decide to call this? Daily Dose. It's the Daily Dose Advice video, where I'm going to talk about and respond to some of the issues that people have submitted to me for review. Before I get started, I want to say I edited this out, but in each of the questions that I'm going to go over, plus several more that came in that I'll be going over later in the week, each one of these women identified themselves as white. I mean, not that that's, a big deal, but they wanted me to understand that even though they knew that this channel was primarily marketing towards African American women, they wanted, they said things like, oh, I've read your stuff, I've been watching your videos, I used to follow your blog, even though I'm white, I love how you respond to things, you're so funny, you're so smart, you're so, so bottom line, they acknowledged that they were not part of my quote target market, but that they wanted me to respond to their issue because they like my style. So I decided, that's fine. I don't really care what race the person is unless it gets into a discussion of interracial relationships, then that becomes important. But other than that, usually it doesn't really matter that much. So let's get started. This woman says, I've been with my fiance for 4 years now. And the first year and a half, I never saw him look or check out other women, but now that's all he seems to do, even when I'm with him. He's constantly looking at and checking out younger females 24/7, 7 days a week. Here's a perfect example. I explained to him if we go to the mall or something, he happens to see a hot female, he'll literally miss 10 to 15 parking spots just so he can park by her so he can check her out right in front of me. He opens doors for other women. He will even wait for them to come to the door. And all the movies we watch, I wonder if there's mini porn because all the movies are is boobs, ass, and coochie. Oh. All the time he tells me I'm jealous. He stopped having sex with me. Our sex life has drastically dropped. He tells me that I imagine him looking and checking out other females because he's not at all doing this. I feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like I'm not what he truly wants, even though he tells me I'm everything he wants, and he can't figure out why I get upset or mad. He can't understand that it hurts me that he has told me before if I ever saw him looking at another female, it was only because they were unique. There was something unique about them that caught his attention, like I'm really stupid. The reason he's looking is because they're hot. They blow me all out of the water, but he tells me I'm just jealous. I have no competition. I'm the only woman for him, but he consistently looks and checks out other women. He says he doesn't care about sex. He doesn't want sex. He's going to be 49, but if that's true, then why is he consistently looking and checking out younger females and doesn't just look once? He looks 2 to 3 times at the same female, and he wonders why I have no self-esteem or self-confidence, and I'm constantly putting myself down. He can't figure out that I need help. I'm going to explode. I need someone to talk to. Can you please help me? Now, what you're going to hear, this is a theme today. These dudes are just a trip. Now, the fact that they're dealing with white dudes, I thought was interesting, and that's why I mentioned the race, because so many black women hold white guys up to some like godlike standard, like, they're so much better. I mean, they may be in certain respects, but this kind of behavior and the stuff that I talked about in where the guys were experimenting and saying that they were bi and they had relationships with men and stuff like that. See, those were white guys too. Those were white. So I'm like, okay, what is going on with these dudes? I mean, the blatant disrespect here is just appalling. And what really bothers me is why these women feel like they have to stay with these men. Remember that the letters that I did about the guys having the sexual experiences with other men, it was the same thing. The guys waited until the woman was engaged to them, until she was married to them, or some really deep love, pregnant by them, some deep level of commitment that she made to him before he rips off his little sheepskin and commences to act in a complete and total fool, totally disrespecting her, hurting her every time she turns around. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, this, you say he's your fiance, so you still have time to save yourself. And I would strongly suggest, young lady, that you eliminate this man from your life as quickly as possible. You're injuring yourself. You're hurting yourself mentally, emotionally, I mean, psychologically, spiritually, every way I can think of, to try to maintain a relationship with this man just because you say he's your quote fiance. See, and that's an overwhelming writing theme with a lot of the women, and I don't get it. I mean, why would you want to be married to someone who treats you like this? What is the point? Where's the benefit to you to have your self-esteem crushed like a bug under this man's foot? Why do you think that that's a healthy relationship for you? Why do you feel like you need to stick around and talk to him and explain to him and stay with him and take this over and over and over and over, year after year? What is the fucking point? I don't get it. So, I mean, that's my analysis. I mean, he just really don't give a shit about you. He says, these dudes are making these, they say words. And I keep telling you, ladies, you cannot go by what they say. Go by what they do. This man is showing you by his behavior that you are not at all important to him. What you feel, the hurt that you're experiencing, none of that is important to him. He's intentionally doing things to antagonize you and to intentionally hurt you. You're in the car with him and he does this kind of thing, driving around with you in the car. Why didn't you get out the car? I mean, take a cab, you Uber, somewhere, wherever you needed to go. But you don't need to subject yourself to this kind of nonsense. So see, you guys have a lot of options here that you're not utilizing it all to protect and save yourself. You're just staying with these men and allowing them to continue to dog you out. I don't get it. I mean, I understand that this is an abusive relationship and you are suffering and your self-esteem is suffering from, but you had enough left to write to me. And I'm telling you, in order to save yourself, you have got to get away from this man. You are going to have a total mental breakdown if you keep this up. I mean, as you said, you feel like you're ready to explode. See, you're conflicted. You love him. You don't understand why he's treating you like this. You're hurting, but you love him and you don't understand why he's treating you like this. So you're hurting. I mean, it's like this vicious cycle that you've gotten yourself into trying to maintain this relationship with this loser ass dude. And this is not the only one. So let me continue with the nonsense. This is another one. I have a problem with my boyfriend looking at girls and getting attracted to them. He said it's a normal thing because men are born with strong hormones. But I don't understand something. Yes, men are born with strong hormones, but can't they control it? I mean, just stop looking at other girls and say that they are attractive. He also told me that once he sees the, quote, attractive girls, his emotions stir him up first and he says, she is attractive. And this happens every day. I don't like this and it's truly uncomfortable for me to be in this situation. Can you explain to me why this should be agreeable to happen? I don't know what she means. I just don't understand because I might just break up with him if he does not have the will to control himself. That is exactly what you should do. See, I'm looking at, just like in the letter I just talked about, you are in a situation that's hurting you. You explain to him that he's hurting you. He blows you off with one excuse after another so he can continue to hurt you. Yet you don't leave him. Why are you still there? See, I mean, I don't know. My tolerance level for bullshit ass motherfuckers is about that high. I mean, like about as high as an ant's knee. That's how much I will tolerate this kind of mistreatment and abuse. And you ladies, I mean, he can only do this to you one time. If you continue to stick around with him and let him continue to treat you like this and dog you out, you're doing that to yourself because you continue to stay in the proximity of a man who has no respect for you, talks about love, but he's not demonstrating it at all. And he just continues to hurt you every time you look around. Nothing about that sounds like, you guys have a close, tight, emotionally intimate, truly romantic relationship, because he's always throwing other women up in your face and making you feel insecure, not good enough, like you're not satisfying him, that he doesn't really want you, he wants something else. That will tear you apart, and there's no reason for you to stick around and continue to take that. So you say you might just break up with him, he doesn't have the will to control himself. That you should have broke up with him the first day that happened, and you told him to stop, and then he did it the next time. You should have been out then. So this kind of thing, you don't say how long you've been with this guy, like the other woman said, 4 years. But to me, one day past the time they do it the first time is too long. I couldn't do it. Another woman says, my boyfriend would, from time to time, sit up and notice a girl or woman walking or standing. It didn't happen that often, so I ignored it. Well, that's normal. I mean, even as women, we see a woman dressed, like her dress, you like her hair, her makeup is fly, her heels, her shoes are tight. I mean, there's going to be something that you're looking at that involves another person. So that in itself is not a big deal. But like you said, then he came back from a training class with a coworker that he talked about over the phone about looking at girls. When he got back, it all went downhill. He just stopped in front of me and checked out a girl who was walking with her boyfriend or husband. He stared at her until they were out of his sight. I was so shocked I was speechless. I was hurt and embarrassed. I said something to him in the car, and he swore he didn't remember doing that. I asked, how can you pay that much attention to someone and not remember? He is a fucking liar. So we got over it and moved on. Then things just got worse. Of course they did, because he realized he could bullshit you so easily. He would see a girl, stop me, and talk about something until she walked by so that he could look at her more closely. He would see a young, pretty kid to me and do whatever he had to do to check her out. He's 50 years old, and these girls were 20, if that. Oh my God, this guy. The final straw was when he checked out my 20-year-old daughter's friend as we were driving off, and she was at our door waiting for my daughter to let her in. After that, I just thought, this guy is sick. I didn't want him anywhere with him, like a fair or college football game, in fear of him getting caught checking out someone he truly didn't. I don't have a habit of looking at men, so I don't understand this problem. We have broken up over it. He still doesn't believe he does this. I'm not sure if I should try to help him or just let him go. What do you think causes this behavior? What causes this behavior? He's an old fucker. That's what causes the behavior. He's a fruitcake. He's a nut. He has no dick game. His ego thinks he's gonna be getting some young girl's gonna be attracted to his ass, and so he's just sitting there staring at him and thinking that they're gonna pay attention to him and notice him. The best thing that could happen to him, that for some of these young girls to see him looking at him and say, stop looking at me, you old fucker, you dried up piece of shit. Don't nobody want you. You better go on over there with some woman who might be interested in your dried up dick ass. But I'm not, so don't look at me. If you keep looking at me, I'm going to charge your ass. So, he needs a couple of doses of reality like that. Unfortunately, unless he runs into like one of these hood-oriented white girls, he's not likely to have that occasion. Because I know some white girls like raised in the projects and stuff. They would just read his ass like a book. I mean, they do the whole networking thing and the finger working and all that stuff. It's too funny. But, they get down and they check people. So unless he runs into somebody like that, as he continues affiliating himself with white women that, are a little bit more meek and mild and don't have that ratchet ghetto side of them, then he's just going to keep acting like this. So you, young woman, well, you don't really say how old you are. You did well to break up with him, especially when you see him looking at your daughter's friends like that. I mean, not only is that disrespectful to you, it's disrespectful to your child, and it's disrespectful to your child's friends. And you don't know. I mean, this girl might have like a crazy daddy, like my father was about me, and saw some old ass man, checking me out like that. He would be all up in dude's face, like, you dried up, crunchy motherfucker, what you doing? So, this guy, I don't know, he's bad news. And I just can't believe, did you notice this pattern here? These guys are in their late 40s, like 47, 48, 49, 50, and they're acting like this. and they're all white. Not to say black men don't do this too, but I'm talking about the letters today. And I just thought, wow, this is really a trip. Why are they doing this like right in front of their faces? It's so, so, so disrespectful. Okay, then I guess, and just talking about letting him try to help him. Hell no, you don't waste your time helping him. Help him do what? He's not going to change. He's enjoying himself. The one who needs to change is you, and that is change boyfriends to somebody who knows how to treat you and treat your daughter and treat your daughter's friends. He ain't the one. He's got 3 strikes. Nope, you out. Okay, and then here's the last letter. I'm not. It's just, I mean, they got like 3 or 4 of these looking at the women things. Looking at the women. But this one is a little bit different. I've been married for 30 years. Wow. And I just found out over a year ago that my husband has been involved in cyber sex for over 12 years and pornography for as long as we have been married, with it becoming a problem within a few years of marriage. Yet you stayed married to him. He had phone sex when he had been married for about 4 years, and I was devastated and shocked. He claimed he would not do that ever again. After 7 years of marriage, I found porn videos in our house the very night I went to labor with our first child to boot. I was so angry. It's been a hard marriage. He kept it all hidden and underground for many years, going on sites to cybersex when I was asleep and the kids were in bed. He said sometimes he would wake up at 3 in the morning to do this. He also went online for cybersex at work so that I would not find out. He went on the site Ashley Madison to cyberchat. I have logs from the site, and 68% of his time cyberchatting was done at work. Wow. He could have jeopardized our financial situation if he got caught. He has seen a therapist and has been officially diagnosed as a sex addict. I'm just so upset and disgusted by him. He is not the man I thought I married. He has led a double life for almost as long as I have known him. It's just awful. I now understand why so much of the time I felt lonely in my marriage. It has affected me so much that I am now irritable and I'm not myself. Well, not too much. Wait, okay. First of all, let me point out the 30-year marriage. I keep telling dudes, because that's one of their things that they like to talk about is how long women don't want to stay committed, and they in the olden days marriage lasted for decades, 20 or 30 years, and I keep telling them, yeah, they might last, but the women are fucking miserable in it. They just stay in it because they either feel like they're too old or they too tired to find somebody else, or some financial reason or whatever, laziness. But that because somebody's married for 30 years does not mean that they're happy. And I keep trying to get these nitwits to understand that, and they just don't get it. But this is a perfect example. She knew 4 years into this marriage that her husband was a jerk, that he had some serious problems that were going to interfere with their partnership and true intimacy, which is what a woman gets married to have. So she knew that early on, and that's when should have got a divorce. Unfortunately, she didn't. So she ended up having evidently at least 2 kids, because she used the less S on the end. And this guy is like, he's not emotionally or psychologically available to her. He's all into his addiction, and that kind of behavior, whether it's pornography, alcohol, cocaine, weed, whatever, heroin, whatever, the man's addiction is, that's his girlfriend, that's his wife. And you are just like, some afterthought. And it's very unfortunate so many women get caught up in these kinds of things. But what you have to do, ladies, even if you need therapy yourself, because I'm not saying it's easy to just, dump your husband on. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is, if you find yourself in a situation similar to this, what you need to do is get yourself some counseling. Don't worry about marriage counseling. What you need to do is get yourself some, so that you can wrap your mind around the fact that this relationship that you imagined that you were going to have does not exist. That the relationship that you dreamed of having when you got married to that man will never happen. And there has to be a certain level of acceptance of women, and where women put themselves and their needs and their emotional and mental health above a relationship. And until you can do that, you're going to be stuck in a situation like this woman and get hurting year after year after year after year, trying to say, well, this is my marriage, it's my husband. You love to say my husband this and my husband that, even when your husband ain't shit like this guy. So, and my thing, like, most companies have a cyber policy. And if you get caught doing something like this, you lose everything. You are like terminated on the spot. And you can't collect unemployment because you violated, company policy. You broke some law that they have or whatever. So, I mean, you just being up shit creek. So he's being extremely selfish, especially since they have a couple of kids. He's been extremely selfish, and all he's thinking about, which is the typical way that men do, is his dick. That's it. That's all he's thinking about. So, like I said, you see the theme here. There's letters from yesterday and from today. We have men that all they think about is their dick. So their dick is more important to them than their wife, than their marriage, than their children, than their jobs, than their financial situation, anything. They're worried about their dick. And that's all they think about. So you women who have like all these fantasies in your mind that, people keep talking about, well, there's good men out there. There are men who are good for certain things. Excuse me. There are men who will go to work. There are men who are good fathers, to their children. There are men who pay a lot of good attention to their wives. Inevitably, though, doing what I'm doing, what I've been doing for almost 30 years myself since she got married nearly, there's some holes. And there's holes and there's big holes. And the holes that hurt women, but they still want to maintain the relationship because they're more afraid of being single, being alone, they say, than they are with enduring the drama that these men are putting them through. So, and this is a totally individual thing. I can only say what I advise. You have to do what works for you. And I tell everybody this when they write to me for advice. But to me, it makes no sense to spend years, decades of your life with a man who thinks only of himself and who does everything he can to hurt you. I fail to see where staying in a relationship like that makes a lick of sense. And, I can't tell you when is your bottom line. When you're gonna be like over the top, what they say, the last needle in the hay. No, the last straw. That's what it is. When your last straw is gonna come. But I hate to see you go all the way to the bottom, ladies, before you decide to get off this sinking ship, because these guys are unhealthy, and that's gonna spill over to you and then to your children. So even if you're not thinking so much about yourself, think about your kids, because they don't need to be in a situation with a man like that. And especially if you have a daughter, and he's all into this other stuff, you never know when he's going to flip over and your daughter's going to become a part of his, his little shenanigans here. Don't laugh and think that it won't happen, because it's happened, thousands and thousands of times. So when someone has an unhealthy interest in sexual activities, that unhealthy interest can include things that are criminal against children, even against adult women. So be very careful with this. It really disturbs me that so many of these letters with the same kind of theme came in all at once. But I guess it's better to get them done now and get them out the way. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have something that's a little bit more upbeat. I have a lot of letters to go through, but I'm kind of going in them by date order. And these all came in, within like a 3-week period of each other. So I put them all together in one video. But that's it for today's column. Tomorrow, we will do the live stream. I was originally going to do it today, but I knew I was going to, it just wasn't going to happen because I got home too late. But I'll be, here earlier tomorrow, so we'll do the live stream starting at 6 p.m. Pacific time. That's 9 if you're in the New York, East Coast area, or 8 if you're in Central Time like Texas and, all in there. So I'll see you guys tomorrow on the YouTube channel and the live chat. Come with your questions, or send them to me in advance if you prefer. I can answer them on camera. The email address is survivingdating@gmail.com. Surviving dating is all one word. So just send me your questions and I will be sure to answer them if they make sense to do on a video. We got 2 weeks of this. Okay, this is only the second day, so I need some more exciting questions to come in. Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Now that you've seen some of the grade A content that the Debsterism channel offers, please become a subscriber. Just click the subscribe button down below. Then you'll see a little bell. Click that after, and then you'll be able to get notifications sent directly to your cell phone of when I post new content. You can be one of the very first people to review the new videos, like them, comment them on them, and share them. We'd like you to do all of those things to help the channel grow. I appreciate your support, so become a subscriber. Tell your friends.